This boy named Jisuk enters a Minecraft-like game called Chrono Life. He appears with only a shovel and no other weapon. He is surprised that there is no other player around, because he heard that this game allows 100 million players to enter together, make teams, and defeat monsters with their partners. He thinks the gaming company has tricked him. He guesses maybe the purpose of the day is just digging, so he tries it to check. Suddenly, a dirt block jumps into the air. He thinks he has entered the wrong game. When he touches the block with his shovel, it goes into his inventory. He starts understanding the game. He decides to try other things. He goes to a tree and touches it with the shovel. A wood block enters his inventory. A notification appears that he can now craft a chair. He accepts it, and a chair appears in front of him. He sits happily, but soon gets bored because he is alone. He came here to fight monsters. A notification appears that his skill level has increased, and now he can craft more items. When he checks his inventory, he sees a chair, a wooden club, a wooden sword, and other items like a siege catapult. He builds one more thing. After hours of effort, he builds his own house. It costs 50 wood, 10 stone, and 30 dirt from his inventory. He becomes very happy. He enters the house. Inside it is simple, a chair and a bed. He lies on the bed and thinks this house is better than his real house because there he must pay rent and the place is cramped. He looks at his shovel and thinks he should build a villa with a big park. He feels this world is better than the real world. But suddenly, a lion bear breaks the door and enters. A notification shows that it is extremely angry with danger level A. The monster attacks. Jisok dodges again and again, but it breaks his bed. He gets angry. He grabs his shovel and prepares to fight like a hero. The lion bear suddenly punches him far away. Two of his teeth break and he flies out of the house and dies. He gets revived at the same spot, but with some experience lost. He feels a little embarrassed that he is now weaker. When he sees his house, it is destroyed. He becomes sad and holds the broken pieces, remembering the moments he spent inside. He decides firmly that he will rebuild and take revenge. By evening, he rebuilds his house. The bear passes by again, notices the house, and becomes angry. It breaks the door and enters. But this time, when it sees the boy, it freezes. The boy sits inside his siege catapult waiting. He fires at the monster again and again. Even injured, the bear attacks. But then he launches a big shot that sends the bear flying far away. It loses. He collects its inventory drops, meat, bones, and skin. These allow him to craft a helmet and armor. He realizes that defeating mobs gives materials directly to his inventory. He does not know that some monsters are watching him. When he turns around, a whole monster army is behind him. He thinks this is cheating, but the monsters do not care. One monster attacks and kills him. The same thing happens again and again. For 100 days, it continues. His house is always destroyed. He tells himself that he at least knows they want to kill him, but he does not understand why they break his house every time. He rebuilds, and they destroy. He believes they are doing it on purpose. He says he will never give up. No matter how many times they kill him, he will revive. Finally, on his 999th revival, the entire monster army becomes scared. He has built a huge palace with a throne at the top. He sits on the throne and tells the monsters to send their boss, and he might forgive them. A flying monster tries to attack from the side, but the palace defense system fires a laser and eliminates it. Jisok challenges all monsters to come and defeat him. Most monsters are nervous but still attack. His defense system activates and monsters are eliminated. Some reach near the palace and hit it, but he burns them too and attacks so strongly that none survive. Then the monster boss, Granturus, finally arrives with danger level GOAT. Jisok is determined to stop him this time. The boss says that no matter what he does, nothing will affect him. The boss breathes in deeply and fire gathers in his mouth. He shoots a huge fire blast at the palace, but suddenly the ground beneath the palace rises. A giant robot emerges from the earth. The entire palace was built on its head. The robot is so huge that the boss looks like an ant next to it. The robot lifts its arm and hits the boss with full force. The whole world shakes. Shockwaves are felt everywhere. The boss becomes completely crushed. Jisok stands on top of the robot, shocked. He climbs down because finally he has won. He adds the boss to his inventory, unlocking many new items. A notification appears that his fame is spreading across the world, and the ruler of the underworld has changed from the boss to Jisok. He lifts his shovel into the air and says that this is only the beginning. Now he can do anything. He has become the king of this world. The 7 powerful legion commanders of Granturus gather after hearing the news of their boss's defeat. One commander, Doro, suggests sending a team to check if the news is true. Another commander immediately says there is no need to check. The system never makes mistakes. They announce that they will gather their boss's entire army and take revenge immediately. Suddenly the ground shakes. These are the footsteps of Granturus. The boss stands in front of them. Much of his body is now artificial. The commanders become scared and bow in front of him. They make excuses and say they were only going to check on him, and that is why they gathered. The boss tells them they were the ones who kept killing him again and again, sending armies and destroying his house. Hearing this, their eyes widen. Something is wrong. Gran Turris is being controlled by King Jisuk. Suddenly, machine guns, rocket launchers, and every type of weapon begin coming out of Gran Turris's mouth. One monster tries to negotiate and says they should talk, but Jisuk, full of anger, listens to no one and uses his attack, the Mecha Beam, destroying the entire army in one strike. No one survives except Doro, the 7th commander, who is now the size of a small toy. Jisuk looks at him and asks why he is so small. Doro explains that he can regenerate from even a small piece of his body, but the more damage he takes, the smaller and weaker he becomes. Jisuk says that means he is easier to kill now. Doro starts crying and begs to be spared. Jisuk wants to know why they came to kill him in the first place. Doro and the boss both apologize. Jisuk says apology is not enough, he wants the reason. Doro explains that one day, a creator from another world came to Gran Turris and ordered him to kill Jisuk. After saying this, the creator disappeared. Jisuk becomes confused why anyone would want to fight him. Doro does not know the reason. Jisuk asks if there is any way to meet this creator. Doro says he does not know. Then Doro asks if he may ask a question. Jisuk allows it. Doro asks what he is doing like a fool. Jisuk says he is building a tower. Then he points upward and says he wants to go there, his finger pointing at the moon. Jisuk says it has always been his dream to go to the moon and it will be fun. Doro starts giving scientific explanations why it is impossible. Jisuk simply says he wants to go. Doro is shocked and thinks Jisuk is crazy, but then he realizes he has no choice. If he does not help his master, he will not survive. He also decides that if he ever gets the chance, he will eliminate Jisuk. The two of them work day and night and continue building the tower. Gran Turris stays with them. Doro teaches Jisuk basic physics. A bird even picks Doro up once. They sleep on top of the tower. Gran Turris keeps other monsters away and protects the construction. Finally, the tower exits the world's atmosphere. The game creator watches them and calls Jisuk truly insane. He decides to add a fun event to make the journey interesting. He plans a challenge for when they reach the moon. After some days, Doro and Jisuk reach the moon. They are wearing spacesuits and are very happy. Doro even cries from joy. They look at Earth from the moon. It is a beautiful sight. Doro says he has never seen anything so amazing in his life, and thanks Jisuk for showing it. Jisuk feels a little shy and stands up, saying they should start digging to collect moon minerals. Suddenly, the moon begins to shake. They turn around and see a giant rabbit monster. The moonlit Nightblood, crazed rabbit, danger level SS. Before it can attack, a powerful mechanical punch hits it. The robot punch comes from the special mech astronaut suit that Jisuk is wearing. The rabbit gets pushed deep into the ground. It rises again and tells the fools from the blue planet that they will not leave alive. Jisuk and Doro do not take it seriously. The rabbit screams toward the sky, and the whole moon shakes. It seems like it is calling for its group, and it is true. Hundreds of rabbit monsters surround them. Doro feels there is no hope, but Jisuk starts fighting. Doro did not expect such a huge battle. He thinks this might be their end. Then he notices something. The rabbits are only attacking Jisuk, not him. He realizes he can escape and return to his planet. He happily begins to run away. But before leaving, he looks once at Earth and remembers the peaceful moment when he and Jisuk looked at the view together. Meanwhile, Jisuk is fighting when one rabbit jumps from behind to attack him. Before it lands, Doro flashes through and cuts it clean in one instant. He lands beside Jisuk. Jisuk is surprised and says he thought Doro was running away. Doro says he is thankful to Jisuk for showing him the most beautiful thing in his life, and he will fight with his master until death. The rabbits attack all at once. Doro bows his head down. Then he hears strange sounds. When he opens his eyes, he sees Jisuk holding him through his power moon suit and flying upward. The rabbits look shocked. Jisuk tells Doro not to worry, they will survive. He pulls out rockets hidden in his suit and fires at all the rabbits, wiping them out. After the fight, they sit on the moon, drinking juice and celebrating the victory. Doro asks why Jisuk carved his name into the moon's surface. Jisuk says he wants the world to know the moon is his area. Doro asks why he plays the game like this. Jisuk gives a playful smile and says, "For fun." They sit watching Earth. Suddenly, something enters the sky and hits the planet. A huge blast destroys a part of the Earth. Both of them are shocked. Jisuk tells Doro to stay on the moon while he goes to check what happened. Before Doro can ask how he will return, Jisuk is already gone, flying toward Earth. Doro becomes worried. What kind of thing destroyed such a big part of the Earth? Jisuk arrives on Earth furious, thinking someone wants to destroy his creations again. He lands hard and calls out for Gran Turris. He sees fire everywhere. everywhere. Then he finds someone lying on the ground. It is Granturus, dead from the attack. Jisuk becomes deeply shocked. He hears a voice behind him saying that someone is still alive. When he turns, he sees a man and a small strange creature named Ursus. The man makes fun of Jisuk's weapon, saying he is really a noob holding a shovel, while he himself carries a wooden stick. The man's name is Peace, and his weapon is a +99 reinforced wooden stick. Jisuk angrily asks who he is. Peace says Jisuk looks angry, so why not fight? Peace introduces himself, saying he is the strongest user of the +99 reinforced wooden stick. Before Jisuk even introduces himself, Peace says there is no need because he is a real noob. Jisuk understands that this is the same guy who destroyed his world and ruined his tower. Jisuk calls him a total perv for showing off just his underwear, but Peace does not care at all. Then Peace suddenly charges at Jisuk with super speed. He appears right in front of him. Jisuk barely manages to turn on his suit and jump up to avoid the attack, but his left foot gets a little injured. Jisuk brings out all his weapons and rocket launchers and fires everything at Peace at once, but Peace does not move. He activates energy inside himself and says he will see how strong this is. With one strike of his stick, he destroys all those attacks. The shockwave reaches Jisuk, who does an emergency escape and his suit breaks. Then Jisuk merges his giant robot from the ground. The whole earth starts shaking. Far away on the moon, Doro, who is watching the earth, sees explosions and hopes Jisuk is okay. The giant robot fully emerges from the ground, but surprisingly, Peace blocks the giant's attack easily with his stick. He jumps and quickly appears near the giant's head and comes down with a downward strike aiming straight at the castle. But some blocks stop his attack. These blocks were made by Shiso's shovel, and there are millions of them. With these blocks, he is able to stop Peace's attack. He wonders how this guy is so extremely strong. Peace is impressed and excited by Jisuk's power and decides to end this whole game. He breaks through the block wall and appears right in front of him. Both get ready to attack and their stick and shovel clash. When their weapons hit, a huge explosion happens and the world splits into two pieces. Ursus praises Peace's power, saying he really went and smashed up another world. Peace tells him to make sure to build it better next time. Then his attention goes to the stone piece below where Jisuk is still standing. He is injured but still full of spirit. Even in this weak state, he challenges Peace to another fight. But before anything happens, Jisuk falls face first and faints. Ursus looks at the shovel and says, "It does not look like a normal digging tool." Peace thinks a bit, wondering who this boy is and why he was carrying such a weapon. Suddenly, a glowing magic circle opens and two people appear. One man named Diokbe, and with him a mysterious girl, Yura, who looks like his assistant. The man tells Peace that he is an idiot for smashing the another world again. Peace gets embarrassed and asks why he's here. The girl goes to the user, calling Jisuk with worry, checking if he is okay. Peace gets shy and asks Grandpa's Diokbe if she is his granddaughter because she looks very pretty. He says she is not. Yura wakes Jisuk and says she was killing him again and again to make him stronger, and that the order was from him. Actually, Yura is the lead developer of Another World. Jisuk's mind spins at what he's hearing. He wants to ask what that means, but faints again. After some time, Doro is trying to wake Jisuk up by slapping him. Suddenly, Jisuk rises in anger and pain. His head is still spinning. Then he remembers how the world had exploded, but when he looks at the sky, Earth is completely fine again. Doro hugs him while crying and says he was worried about him. When Jisuk thanks him for worrying, Doro quickly says he was not worried about him but about himself, that he might have gotten lost into space. Jisuk realizes he is on the moon with Doro. Jisuk cannot understand how Peace destroyed his world, but he is still okay. Then he asks Doro what happened after he fainted. Doro starts explaining that, a little while ago, another world had split into two pieces. Then a light appeared, and out of it came a beautiful girl holding Jisuk. It was Yura. She had brought his shovel too. Jisuk was still unconscious. When Doro tried to help, the girl told him Jisuk was fine and only unconscious. She had put a healing spell on him, a very intense one, so he would recover soon. Doro also says that when he asked developer Yura who did this to the master and to Another World, Yura explained it was the 99 level wooden stick, Peace, that did it. He is from the Chrono Life main server. Peace is considered the strongest in all worlds, and he came to the Other World to protect new users. That world had blocked users from reaching the main server with a system barrier, but the 99 level wooden stick shattered it. Peace is returned to his native world now, so Peace is returned here too. But Peace on this planet could fall into danger again, so they need to be prepared. Then Yura lifted her hand and used Recover, and the broken world came back together and became normal again, exactly like it was before Peace attacked. After that, Miss Yura disappeared. Jisuk realizes this is everything that happened. Hearing all this, he becomes deep in thought. He says he lost. He thought he was very strong and arrogant. Then he blames himself again, saying he failed to save everyone. Doro encourages him, saying surviving in front of the strongest user is already a huge thing. Jisuk says he survived only because his shovel blocked Peace's strike. Hearing this, something clicks in his mind. If his simple shovel could block the strongest weapon in the universe, then maybe it is not a normal shovel. He asks Doro who made it. Doro says he does not know, but some people might. The famous dwarf craftsmen who live in the wide mine. Doro says they are experts in crafting, mining, and smithing. Jisuk immediately decides to go find them. He carries Doro, but Doro says he does not know the way. Jisuk says it is fine, they will look from the sky. Jisuk thinks he will create a powerful metal transformer so that whoever destroyed his home, whether it's that pervy guy or that girl, he can definitely settle the score with them. Meanwhile, in another world place called Dark Plateau, some heroes are fighting skeletons. Among them is hero Joachim, level 49, and another hero Peach Shield, level 42. More heroes are fighting too, but they find these skeletons boring because these enemies are meant for new users. Suddenly Joachim sees something flying in the sky. Everyone thinks it is a new monster, but it is actually the flying head of Gran Turis, which Jisuk and Doro are using like a helicopter. From far away, the heroes cannot see clearly, but they assume it is an undiscovered monster. They think it is a very strong one and decide to attack. Above them, Jisuk and Doro are looking for the dwarves, but they only see skeletons below. Doro asks if flying like this is safe, and Jisuk says it is like a romance, and that he is glad he recovered Gran Turis' skull. Then they notice some heroes approaching them. Suddenly, there is a big attack from below. The heroes launch everything at them, but the attacks feel like throwing paper at Gran Turis. Doro asks why it is so weak. Jisuk says maybe these are not high-level players. Then, Jisuk becomes serious. He says since they attacked first, they should pay for it. Jisuk orders Gran Turis to blow them up. Gran Turis obeys. The explosion is nothing less than a nuclear blast. He uses Mecha Beam, destroying everything. They come out of their copter. A hero lies on the ground in a legendary Yamcha pose. Skeletons are scattered everywhere. Jisuk touches one skeleton and its bones get added to his inventory. A notification appears, Bone Maker unlocked. He can now combine bones to make powerful skeletons. Jisuk creates hundreds of skeletons. Then, he makes a small cute puppy skeleton and names it Bone Mutt. Doro tells him to build proper skeletons. Then, another notification appears. After creating 100 unique skeletons, a rare grade skeleton is going to be born. Jisuk accepts. Huge energy gathers on the ground and a giant skeleton vortex appears. The king of the legendary undead, of SSS danger level. It calls itself the Lich King, and respectfully asks Jisuk to give it a name. Jisuk names it Lich King. Doro tries to stop him, warning that the Lich King is the trickiest and most deceitful monster who never bows to anyone. So Jisuk changes its name to Clacky. Doro says this is not the time for naming, but the Lich King calmly accepts the name. This relaxes Jisuk, and he says Clacky looks fine and will not betray him. Jisuk then asks if Clacky knows where Widemine is. Doro says it is impossible for Clacky to know, but surprisingly Clacky confidently says he does know. Jisuk becomes happy and asks him to lead the way. But Jisuk does not know that Clacky is hiding a knife behind his back. Meanwhile, when Peace and Jisoo clashed earlier and the world split and then recovered, far away the user and those aiming for the position of another world's master, even they saw it. An unknown person sitting on a throne says the new master is quite a flashy one, and all those who saw the letters carved on the moon began calling that day the King Arrival Day. They all start moving toward their destination, with Clacky following behind. While walking, Jisuk suddenly turns around and looks at Clacky. Clacky quickly hides his weapon behind his back, thinking Jisuk saw it, but Jisuk only says their work on the Oduk Great Plains is still unfinished, and they should continue. Clacky thinks maybe Jisuk noticed his weapon, but actually Jisuk only means they should first build a strong base. In the next moment, all of them switch into engineer mode and decide to start construction. Their goal is a fortress-like tower loaded with weapons, so no one can approach. Their first priority is safety. The skeletons immediately begin working and start building the fortress in a Chrono Lifestyle way. Later, Clacky spins his knife as if he is going to attack, but actually all of them gather to celebrate the completion of the fortress. It is a long, weapon-packed, impressive tower. Before going inside, Jisuk wants a safety test. They place the fake hero statue on Doro and push him forward, even though he doesn't want to go. As Doro approaches the tower automatically fires at them. Doro somehow escapes, but the statue gets destroyed. Jisuk happily declares the test passed. Jisuk also sets a rule that if a dangerous enemy appears, the skeleton should first release a laser signal, then run away immediately and wait for him. He pats the head of his little skeleton puppy and gives him responsibility of the tower. He feels a bit sad while doing so. Then Clacky brings out his Ghost Rider motorcycle. The three ride on it and start their journey toward the wide mine. On the way, Doro asks Jisuk if they should use Granturus. Jisuk tells him it is too slow. Clacky says they already wasted too much time on the Oduk Great Plains. Jisuk agrees he thought the same, but says everything there was fun and he made new allies. Clacky laughs happily at this. Their journey continues. They travel for many nights, pass through many paths, and finally reach Wide Mine. The place is quiet and empty, and no one is there. They go inside. The mine is wide and open. Jisuk asks Clacky where the dwarves are. Clacky explains that according to old records, the dwarves stopped coming out of the mine one day. Those who went inside to find out what happened never returned. Hearing this, Dora jumps in fear and tells him not to say such scary things. Dora suggests they should go back, but none of them realize someone is aiming at them from far away. Suddenly, arrows and shields fly toward Jisuk. Doro uses his ass to block the shield, while Clacky catches an arrow at high speed. Before Jisuk can order Clacky to attack, Clacky slaps the two attackers so hard that they fall unconscious. Jisuk is confused how the dwarves have become so insane. He tries to shake one awake and asks why they attacked. One dwarf wakes up and says all the dwarves in the mine have gone mad, and no human can survive here. Suddenly, when they look up, they see hundreds of mad dwarves standing around them, ready to attack. Jisuk wonders how the old dwarf regained consciousness, and the old one explains it was because of the strong shock. Jisuk gets ready for battle. Because he knows how to give physical therapy to the rest, he invites them to attack. The mad dwarves rush forward. Clacky uses his magic missile technique and blows away dozens of dwarves. Dor does not hold back either and uses his bite attack to chew through several dwarves. Jisuk joins in too. He summons his metal transformer and sends metal punches flying left and right, knocking dwarves away. They are fighting many at once when the old dwarf shouts for them to stop, warning that the master will wake up. Before he even finishes speaking, the cave wall explodes and a terrifying giant creature comes out. Jisuk freezes in shock and hides. It is the monster, a zombie dragon, an SSS-level monster boss. It has been revived by a curse, with no mind and no mercy, only rage. It charges toward Jisuk. Doro thanks fate that it was not after him. Jisuk barely avoids it, but it keeps chasing him. Seeing it is only after him, Jisuk becomes angry and pulls out his shovel. He merges the skull of Granturus with his tool. Seeing this, the zombie dragon hesitates. Doro cheers for Granturus. But the situation flips. The problem is that only Granturus' head remains. It tries to fly with its copter, but the zombie dragon breaks its blade with one strike and bites him hard. Jisuk starts to run, but then a new idea comes to him. He activates the Bone Maker legendary rare ability. This reinforces Granturus' skull into a strong joint structure, turning him into Skull Granturus. Skull Granturus headbutts the zombie dragon with full force and knocks it away. Then he charges his Skull Mecha Paw and strikes again, defeating the zombie dragon. Outside the cave, far on a mountain, two people have been watching everything. The boy is Rim, the assistant of a man named Lone Shark Heart. Rim asks what they should do now. Heart smiles and says the contract is now over and they should contact that fool. Inside the cave, after the zombie dragon dies, the curse lifts from the dwarves. They all wake up and stare at its giant eyeball, feeling ashamed that such a weak monster controlled them. Jisuk asks Doro if he found anything useful there, and Doro says he did not, and that he has never seen a master like this before. Then the minekeeper Kim arrives. He explains that one day, the zombie dragon suddenly came and took over their mines. He thanks them for saving everyone, shakes Jisuk's hand, and says he manages this place. Jisuk asks him the same question he came for, who made the shovel. Kim studies the shovel, checks its shape, but finally says he has no idea. Jisuk is shocked and stands there frozen as Kim tries to walk away with the shovel. Jisuk gets angry, pulls Kim's beard, and tells him to return it. A little later, Jisuk shows them the true power of his shovel. They all stand amazed at how many great things he can build with it, and Kim praises him. Clacky walks up to Jisuk and asks what they should do now, since they got no information here either. Jisuk asks what other world place is best to get information. Clacky tells him about the Square Beginning, the place where users start their game. Jisuk is surprised because his own game did not start there. On the other side, at the Square Beginning, Hart and Rim are walking around. Hart asks Rim if that man arrived, and he says he has not. His message said he will come after finishing a guest's work. Suddenly, they notice a stage where Joachim the hero and his team warn the people with a poster. The poster shows Granturus. They tell everyone that this monster is very powerful and already killed them once. If no one stops him, he will bring more destruction, so everyone must fight together. People are shocked that even such powerful heroes are asking for help. At that moment, the Royal Palace Guards and the Divine Guild arrive. Then 4 more top guilds reach there as well. There is the Scared Guild, Red Cloak with Cross, the Elite Group of 10, the Strongest Paladins, Cross Guild, the Royal Magicorps from Holy Land Guild, and the Thieves Guild called Righteous Outlaws, and the most dangerous and strongest Justice Guild. All these guilds have formed an alliance. Their overall leader is Miss Hawk of the Justice Guild. She asks the heroes where the monster is and tells them to take her there right now. Back in the Wide Mine, Jisuk decides he will log out of the game and rest in the real world for a bit because he needs a break. He asks Kim if later he can take them to the square. Kim says they could not go outside because of the monster, but now they will go out and party. Jisuk asks about the bag Kim is holding, and Kim suddenly pulls out a shining diamond d'Amour. He says he will sell it in the square market, and Jisuk can take the money. It is a kind of reward for saving them. Jisuk happily accepts his offer and says he will meet them later. Then he logs out of the game, and everybody waves goodbye. In the real world, Jisuk opens his eyes on the bed and says that every time he logs out, reality feels too harsh. He is hungry, so he goes to get food. While eating, he checks the news on his phone. News reports that something special in the Chrono Life game is causing chaos. Diamondium. The report says it has appeared in the market after many years. Traders increased its value 10 times. Jisuk looks at the stone on the screen and instantly recognizes it as the same one Kim had. The price for 1 kilo is set at $100 million. Jisuk almost faints after hearing this. Meanwhile, Doro and Kim actually collected a lot of these stones. Back in the square, Hart and Rim are still waiting for that man. Rim is a bit worried why he is so late, but Hart casually says there's nothing to worry about. He will come, because he would rather die than lose. He is the world's #1 idiot. At that moment, in the middle of the market, a player logs in. The system announces that the #1 player, level 10 warrior, has logged in. It is a red-haired warrior. As he arrives, he simply declares that warrior is back. After some time, he reaches Hart and Rim. Hart welcomes him and tells him that he heard the zombie dragon is dead. He feels sad because he wanted to kill it himself. Hart explains that the one who killed the dragon has now taken over the Wide Mine, but instead of listening, the warrior argues with Rim. Then he laughs and wonders, why not just eliminate that guy? As he takes a sip of coffee, he screams and falls because the coffee is extremely hot. He gives Hart a picture and says this is their new request. The picture is of Jisuk. Hart explains that this is the guy who took control of the mine and they must find him. Meanwhile, inside the Wide Mine, heavy work continues. Jisuk logs back into the game and announces that they will go to the market plaza of Square. He asks the Kim if the Diamondium is safe. The Kim confirms it is safe. Jisuk then orders everyone to prepare for immediate departure, and anyone who is late will be left behind. Doro does not understand why Jisuk is suddenly in such a hurry. Jisuk appoints Clacky to watch over the mine. Clacky asks if he is really capable. Jisuk says he is because he is smart and strong. Clacky becomes happy because this is praise for him. Clacky then whispers to Jisuk that maybe the market price has increased. Jisuk admits the price has increased. Clacky says he already expected it because he is from the Dark Highland, and he knows Diamondium is not a normal stone, but something extremely valuable. Jisuk tells him this is why he wants the mine to stay safe. They both start thinking about a strong transport method. Jisuk notices the giant skull of Granturus and gets the idea to turn it into a vehicle. They convert Granturus into a wheel-based car and set out. Jisuk says their worries are over because Granturus's parts are easy to attach and remove. They move at top speed. Suddenly, someone fires an arrow. It hits the car, sending a shock through it and making it shake to a stop. This arrow belongs to Miss Hawk, the leader of the Justice Guild. She informs them that they are surrounded in the open field. Behind her stands the entire World Guild Alliance. She announces that the battle has begun and fires a bomb arrow into the sky as a signal for everyone to attack. The scared guild branch master Sia sees the signal and prepares his army. The cross guild branch master Su Young grabs her sword and gets ready to fight with her team. The Holy Land Guild Branch Master Bibbidi Boo prepares to strike from the sky. The Hualbindong Guild Branch Master Kuan also gets into position. Miss Hawk orders the attack, and they all start coming down the hill. Jisuk does not know who these people are. He feels anger because they are treating him like this. He calls Granturus's mech to prepare to fire. As soon as they get ready, Ms. Hawk activates Plan A. Her team dodges the attack and charges again. Joachim the hero arrives too. Burning with anger, he wants revenge and jumps into the battle. But Jisok, filled with rage from inside, throws him out of the vehicle and sends him flying. All the guild leaders stare in shock, not expecting such power from a simple game user. Jisok thinks they are bandits trying to steal his diamondium. He raises his leg, transforms it into a giant cyborg limb, and starts kicking the soldiers with huge force. Many of them are blasted away, and some start to run. The leaders are shocked and worried after seeing his power, but they decide they must still fight because he is now their enemy. They prepare a massive combined attack. Suddenly, the level 10 warrior appears from nowhere. He uses his moonlight slash and defeats many soldiers instantly. Jisok is stunned by this attack. The warrior stops in front of him and calmly asks if he is the one who took over the mine. Jisok confirms that he is. The warrior then says that means Jisok is his customer, and he should be taken out of here safely. The warrior jumps back into the battlefield and uses Moonlight Snow Tornado, wiping out dozens of soldiers. He mocks the Guild Alliance and calls them the world's lamest alliance. The guild members, angry, rush at him, but he burns and knocks them down with fire magic. Jisok, Doro, and Kim sit on the Grancher's car watching him. They feel shocked because he is extremely powerful. Doro explains that the level 10 warrior is a very big deal. Jisok watches him throw soldiers everywhere and thinks he looks as strong as Peace. He wonders who would win if they ever fought. At the same time, Joachim and his friends try to escape from behind. They feel hopeless and believe that if their leader cannot win, then they also cannot do anything. But Pete's shield wants one last chance to take revenge. They plan to attack when they count from 3 to 1. But Jisok suddenly appears in front of them and says, "1" himself. They freeze in fear, and Jisok knocks them all down with one punch. The level 10 warrior sees this and understands Jisok is not weak at all. In the end, the level 10 warrior wipes out the entire guild force. Jisok thanks the warrior, and the warrior says he will get paid for this. Miss Hawk, injured, tries to sneak away, but Jisok and the warrior catch her. They take her into the car and tie her up. Miss Hawk makes excuses and says she knows nothing about Diamondium and only came to fight the zombie dragon, but neither of them believes her. Jisok asks the warrior something and calls him master, but the warrior tells him to call him only warrior. The warrior explains that no one sends such a big guild leader alone unless someone powerful is behind her. Jisok wonders if the client also knows that they have Diamondium, who sent the warrior. The warrior says he did not save Jisok for free. The client surely knows. Jisok thinks it is strange and wonders why they did not just take it by force. Then they all leave to meet the client who hired the warrior. When they reach the square plaza, they see many guild members blocking the entrance. Jisok thinks this is a welcome party. The guild members angrily ask if Jisu's group is the one who destroyed their alliance forces. They say that after what Jisusu did to their commanders, they cannot let them enter. At that moment, Miss Hawk steps forward and announces that they are guests and allies. Everyone is shocked. They ask the commander if Jisok attacked them. She says there was a misunderstanding that is now cleared. They all walk inside together. Miss Hawk whispers to Jisok to remember his promise, but Jisok has no idea what promise she means. Miss Hawk gets annoyed and reminds him that they agreed she would safely guide him to the plaza, and in return he would give her a piece of Diamondium. Jisok agrees, saying he will give it once they reach safely and as long as the guild stays under control. They enter the plaza area. There are stalls everywhere. After some time, they all buy food from a stall and sit nearby. The food tastes very good. Dora reminds them that they actually came here to meet the owner of the plaza, but they are just enjoying the place. Their faces show they want to enjoy more, but Miss Hawk insists they must meet the person. Suddenly, a man appears through magic and sits near them. They all stare at him in surprise. He says he is the one who made the request and the one who hired the warrior. He introduces himself as Hart, a merchant and owner of different businesses. Hart says he heard Jisok was coming, and when he did not arrive for a long time, he decided to come personally. Hart tells the warrior that he wants him to complete the request to the end. The warrior says he does not care since his part is done. Jisok looks at the merchant and understands that the man is here for a Diamondium deal. He gets straight to the point and asks what offer he will make. Hart sees that Jisok is sharp and begins to explain his conditions. Suddenly, the ground shakes. Hart remains calm, as if he already expected it. He says this is why they should have met in hideout. A bright, massive throne descends from the sky. It belongs to Riot, the biggest merchant in the entire Chrono Life game world. Everyone turns toward the throne. Jisok thinks Riot looks like a celebrity. Seeing the huge throne, Jisok expects a giant man, but a small fashionable child steps out instead. Everyone, including Jisok, is shocked. Doro admires his confident personality. The boy, Riot, confidently says he wants to buy the Diamondium. Before Jisok can respond, Hart steps forward. Hart says he came first. Riot recognizes Hart and calls him a sneaky, cunning fellow who cuts in line, asking if Hart's pathetic master ordered this. Hart becomes serious and warns him not to insult his boss or he will face consequences. Riot also becomes serious and says he heard that Hart has no manners and now he sees it is true, so maybe he must teach him some manners. The two are just about to fight when Jisok quickly steps between them and stops the clash. He says it seems both want to buy the item and he wants to sell it. Jisuk thinks this is a competition now, which means the value of his product can increase. He calls both of them his customers and asks how much they can pay. Hearing this, Miss Hawk becomes nervous and says he will bargain with an angel. When the angel part does not make sense to Jisuk, she explains they are known for punishing anyone who gets on their bad side. But Riot says there are some misunderstandings about him. The angel is a traitor too, and he won't harm anyone like that because it would damage his credit. Riot tells Hart to step back if he cannot win outside, but Hart refuses. Hart says that from a business point of view, he does not want to fight either, then snaps his fingers and says they should find a better place to talk. Suddenly, a dragon-like cat appears and puts Jisok in its mouth. Hart tells Jisok they will travel inside it. Hart offers Jisok's companions a ride as well, and even though they refuse, the dragon picks them up by force, and they all fly toward the hideout. After some time, they reach Hart's hideout and sit around the dining table. Their meeting starts. Hart turns to the warrior and his assistant Rim, who is sitting nearby, and tells him to watch and learn how business trading works. Riot mocks him for bringing his own witnesses to his own hideout and calls him cunning. He builds again, and Jisok steps in to calm them, telling them to say how much they can pay. Doro scolds him for directly asking for money with no bargaining. Riot begins and asks Jisok if he knows who set the $100 million price for diamantium in the market. Jisok remembers he heard on the news that this trader Riot set the price. Jisok still does not understand much. Hart explains that this rare stone comes from the Nelvin mine, and the market price rose because the mine was blocked. Riot adds that since Jisok defeated the monster and opened that mine again, the price is going to fall. Jisok freezes and asks if he should leave another monster there. Doro shouts at him again, telling him to stop talking like a crazy person. Hart says he will buy before the price drops and offers $300 million per kilo. Riot, with a smart offer, says he can control the market and will buy from Jisok for the next 5 years at $100 million per kilo. Jisok starts thinking. Hart's offer gives huge instant profit, but Riot's offer gives long-term profit. He wants both big and long-term gain. Doro gets angry again, saying he is talking like a thug and trying to get rich off others' money. They start arguing. Riot and Hart watch in silence. The others also stare and think these two are foolish businessmen. The warrior laughs and says it is fun, and this boy is exactly like him. Finally, Jisok asks if they are buying or not. Instead of answering, Riot and Hart move aside and whisper. Then they return and announce they will buy diamantium together for the next 5 years at $300 million per kilo. Jisok jumps with joy that he is now rich. Hart tells him they will only buy diamantium and will not involve themselves in anything else. Riot adds that Jisok must handle transport and everything himself. This worries them. Doro asks Kim if he can even travel safely in such a dangerous way, but the old Kim does not answer and goes to sit in a corner. Riot says if they cannot handle it, he will not give money. But Jisok steps forward and says not to worry, he will handle everything. He has a plan. He will build a railroad and a freight train system. Meanwhile, far away, the hero Joachim sits at the edge of a cliff. His friends stare at him quietly. Seeing his condition, they think their boss has gone crazy because of the punch he took. They try to give him courage. But their boss happily says he has finally found his first rival in another world. He stands up with passion and says he must fight today, telling them to follow him for a rematch. His teammates instantly refuse. They do not know that a strange monster is watching them from below. The monster suddenly appears. He looks like a wolf-shaped monster. He stands before them and asks if they have seen a green, dinosaur-like monster with a big head named Granturus. They freeze in shock. Joachim instantly remembers Granturus, the mecha monster who was with Jisok, his rival. Joachim pulls out his sword and says they never saw him, telling the monster to look somewhere else. His hands shake. The monster flicks his finger and cuts Joachim's sword in half, saying he is useless and knows nothing. The others stand frozen in fear. They realize this is not an ordinary being. The wolf monster tells them to prepare to die. This monster is the king of martial arts, Xiaolong. Xiaolong praises Granturus, saying he is the goat, but at the same time calls him a long-necked lizard. He says it would be better if Granturus becomes the monster of some other world, and that is why Xiaolong sent his underlings to challenge him and declare war. But none of them returned. Xiaolong says maybe Granturus got scared and is hiding. He also says he already dealt with the other heroes easily, and that these people know nothing, and that is why their end came like this. A weak hero survives and begs for mercy. Before Xiaolong can answer, an energy blast hits the wolf monster, and he steps back. The small hero quickly runs toward the newcomers. They are Huobindang Guild's branchmaster Gion and Holy Guild's branchmaster Seiya. They revived and came there because they died fighting the warrior. They think Xiaolong is an ally of the warrior and ask where Miss Hawk is. From this, Xiaolong realizes they know something about Granturus and decides he must make them talk. They prepare to fight because they already understand this monster is extremely strong. Before they even adjust, Xiaolong jumps and tears open Seiya's stomach with one strike, pushing his hand through. Gyun attacks with the Huoban Divine Wind Fist, but Xiaolong blocks it easily and defeats him too. In his final moments, Gyun tells the small hero to run, but the poor kid is frozen in fear. Xiaolong walks to the hero and asks how he should talk to him, because all his allies are dead now. He surely knows something about Granturus, and it is better for him to tell. Meanwhile, after the business meeting ends, the big cat throws everyone out of its mouth, leaving them in terrible condition. Doro angrily tells Hart that this is not how someone treats his client after making a deal. Hart points out the direction of the mine and asks if Jisok is really going to build a rail project. Jisok proudly lifts his shovel and says it will be easy. Riot gives him best wishes and prepares to leave. While leaving, the warrior tells Jisok not to quit the game and that they will meet again. Jisok agrees and tells him to take care. They all fly away. Then Jisok asks Miss Hawk why she has not left. She says he has not paid her yet, and she will not leave until she gets her payment. Jisok slams the shovel into the ground and announces it is time to build the railway. Suddenly, they hear Miss Hawk's name being shouted. They look and see Bibbidi Boo and Suyan, branch masters, flying on magical stick. Miss Hawk asks how they knew she was here. They say they saw her in the square and saw a blue creature swallow her group and fly away, so they followed. They say they came for an important reason and tell Hisok he might become a target. Jisok is confused and asks what they mean. 30 minutes earlier, at the World Guild Union Resurrection Temple, Masters Gyun and Saya revived again. They told them important information about the wolf monster, Xiaolong, that he is searching for someone. From his words, they guessed he was looking for the dragon that carried Jisok. They warned that the wolf is extremely powerful and will not stop until he finds that dragon's monster. They also explained that he probably captured the small hero and already took information from him. If he attacks the square, it will be a disaster. They tell this whole story to Jisok. Hearing it, Doro suddenly says if he is that strong, he must be Violent Xiao. Jisok asks if he knows him. Doro explains that he always wanted to take Granturus' throne. Recently, he even declared war on Granturus' army. Jisok asks who is stronger. Doro says of course Granturus, but Xiao is a special martial artist who trains all the time, so he is extremely dangerous. Miss Hawk, as the guild leader, orders all forces to gather and the plaza to be evacuated. Hearing Doro's words, Jisok thinks deeply and asks Kim if he thinks the small hero will tell Xiaolong where they are. Kim says it seems likely because the kid is scared. Jisok says, but he does not even know they are in the square. While all the leaders prepare to leave, Jisok thinks again and concludes the small hero will reveal the last place he saw them, Dark Highland. Suddenly, a blue laser shoots into the sky from that direction, and they are all shocked. Jisok instantly realizes something is wrong. That laser is the signal he installed in the tower. He ordered it to be activated if a dangerous enemy appeared. He immediately tells everyone they must go there. The tower is under attack, and the signal is coming from it. Xiaolong has attacked it. At the tower, he faces Clacky, who stands with the wounded puppy skeleton in his arms. Clacky tells him that his name is Clacky, and he should remember that name, even in hell. A few minutes earlier, everything was normal. Skeletons were roaming happily outside the tower. Suddenly, Xiaolong arrived at rocket speed and stopped near them, calling the skeletons stupid in his old harsh tone. He also had the small hero with him and asked about the road. Nervously, the kid confirmed this was the place, but noted that there were no apartments here before. Xiaolong threatened him, saying if he lied, he would be killed. Then he realized the rumors were true. Granturus had been defeated and was working under a human who had built this tower and had become the new world leader. Then, a small puppy suddenly kicked him with its foot, but Xiaolong barely reacted, moving slowly. At that moment, the tower's defense system activated. The hero and the skeleton puppy immediately started fleeing. Xiaolong hesitated, wondering how the tower dared to attack on its own. Enraged, he rushed toward the tower, beginning to destroy it. The kid hero told the skeleton puppy that when Xiaolong entered the apartment, they would escape. Just then, Puppy remembered that Jisok told him to send a laser signal if a powerful enemy appeared. He ran toward the tower. The small hero tried to stop him, but he did not listen and entered the tower. Inside, Xiaolong was destroying everything, flames everywhere. He killed the skeletons indiscriminately. Finally, the puppy, heavily injured, reached the control room and pressed a button. Memories of moments with Jisok came to him, and he felt proud for fulfilling his loyalty. At that moment, Xiaolong appeared, realizing the puppy must have run and activated the laser. He grabbed him by the leg, threatening to crush his bones and finish him with his nails. Suddenly, Clacky arrived and stopped Xiaolong's attack, saving the puppy. This marks the earlier face-off between Clacky and Xiaolong. Clacky guides the puppy to a safe place and prepares to fight. Xiaolong attacks again, but Clacky counters and an intense clash ensues. Xiaolong is impressed by Clacky's skill and offers him to join his side. Clacky declines, saying his master is far stronger than anyone like Xiaolong. He then uses magic flare, throwing Xiaolong far outside the tower, standing strong with full might. Xiaolong observes this, realizes the subordinate is powerful, and wonders how strong the master must be. Then Xiaolong grows angrier and undergoes a new transformation, becoming even stronger and more dangerous. Clacky comments that after such destruction, he deserves a harsh punishment. Meanwhile, Jisok, Doro, and his companions are coming there at top speed in the GTX Express Grand Chariz. On the roof, Jisok is building the railway tracks at high speed. Suddenly, a large mountain appears in front of them. Everyone shouts in alarm. Jisuk says they cannot stop and uses his shovel to create a roller coaster-like track over it. Jisukan reassures everyone that they are about to reach their destination and tells them to trust him. But no one is willing to trust him and shouts to stop the train. Meanwhile, on the tower, the battle between the two resumes. Clacky advances and attacks with magic missile, but Xiaolong easily deflects all attacks and moves toward Clacky. Clacky realizes that Xiaolong's speed has increased even further. He strikes at Xiaolong's arm, breaking Clacky's hand. Clacky looks at his hand in shock. In the next moment, Xiaolong teleports behind him and strikes before Clacky can reposition. Xiaolong tears through Clacky's entire body. His pieces fall to the ground and his head hits the floor. Xiaolong laughs, mocking him, saying that he has talked too much and failed to fight, and then praises himself. Only weakling skeletons and a small hero remain in front of him, standing to protect Clacky. Seeing the small hero trembling, Xiaolong says to him, "Now the one who brought you here wants to fight." The small hero, crying, admits that he has indeed brought him, but explains it was his mistake because he has been scared. He adds that the skeletons he used to destroy are actually kinder than him. He vows not to retreat anymore. Suddenly, his hand is cut off by Xiaolong, moving faster than lightning. Xiaolong declares it a reward for betrayal. Puppy and skeletons run toward him to help, but Xiaolong threatens them, saying he will destroy them and become the new ruler of the world. At that moment, something strikes Xiaolong forcefully, sending him sprawling to the ground. At first, he does not realize who has done it, but in anger, he demands to know. It is Jisok standing on top of the GTX Express Grand Chariz, fully serious. Xiaolong realizes that this is the person who has defeated Grand Chariz and made him his subordinate. Suddenly, Xiaolong leaps toward Jisok, preparing a powerful one-hit kill attack. He directs it with full force, but Jisok stops it easily with a shovel, breaking Xiaolong's finger. Xiaolong screams in pain and embarrassment that a mere shovel has caused this. Grand Chariz then grabs him in its mouth, and Xiaolong immediately surrenders, begging for forgiveness, admitting his mistake. He declares that Jisok is his new master and will do anything for him. Repeatedly apologizing, he promises to serve. Jisok initially accepts, but Xiaolong begins to underestimate him, planning to attack his neck the moment he is freed. Jisok starts building tracks toward the sky, while Grand Chariz has him in its mouth, and they move upward, eventually reaching space. Jisok reminds him from above that he isn't that foolish. He knows that if he lets Xiaolong go, he will betray him again. Then he asks if he really said he would do anything for him. Jisok reflects that at first he thinks it is just a popular game everyone plays, but when he tries it, he discovers an entirely new world. He enjoys the challenge, yet those who come only to destroy cannot be forgiven. Then he begins creating tracks downward, descending at full speed. Xiaolong falls forcefully to the ground. The explosion is so massive that the entire region shakes. In the end, Xiaolong is defeated. The puppy skeleton runs to Jisok. They're both happy that they won the fight, and Jisok even apologizes to the puppy for taking a little longer to arrive. Then Jisok tells his companions to get off the train, and their faces light up with joyful smiles. But suddenly, they all start vomiting because the journey has been so rough. Doro assesses the situation. Everything is destroyed. Jisok promises to restore everything to its original state. Doro informs Jisok that Xiaolong is one of the 6 kings, the grandmaster of 1,000 martial artists, and among the most powerful monsters in the world. Jisok touches Xiaolong's loot with his shovel and absorbs it. Skins, claws, blood, and a special item, the emblem of the martial king. The emblem ascends into the sky, then descends directly into Jisok's body, releasing energy throughout him. The system reports that he has collected one emblem, the emblem of the sovereign, one of the 6. Commander Bibbidi Boo magically repairs the broken hand of the injured hero. The kid is amazed and thanks him. Doro explains that it seems he has received this as a reward for defeating one of the 6 kings. Jisok does not understand the reference to the 6 kings. Doro clarifies that the 6 kings are the leaders who are constantly scheming to steal Granturus' throne. Doro warns that they should not be taken lightly. Even though they do not match the power of Granturus, their tactics, betrayal, ambushes, and agitation are dangerous. They could be more dangerous than Granturus himself. Jisuk asks Miss Hawk if he has ever defeated any of them. Miss Hawk admits he has not. They are so powerful that it is evident he has grown strong, having confronted Granturus and Xiaolong, but they still are not equal to Yura, Peace, and the level 100 warrior. If enemies of this level appear again, everything could be destroyed, which he does not want. He realizes that to protect everyone, he himself has to become stronger. He then reflects that he has 3 goals. 1. To find the true purpose of his shovel, and 2. To collect all 6 emblems of the sovereign. Suddenly, he forgets the 3rd goal, and Miss Hawk reminds him that he has to build the railway tracks and earn money by selling diamondium. Then he asks the guild leaders why they are here. Miss Hawk reminds him that his payment is still pending, while the others explain that they have forcibly put him on the train. Then the small hero comes forward and apologizes. He is crying, holding Clacky's skull in his hands, and explains that it all happened because of him. Suddenly, Clacky comes back to life and congratulates them on their victory. They all look amazed to see that he is still alive. Jisok asks how he is still alive with only his skull. Clacky explains that only his body structure is broken, but his spirit does not end as long as his skull remains intact. He adds that, unfortunately, the other skeletons do not survive. Jisuk then addresses the small hero, saying that generally, weak skeletons in such games are not cared about when destroyed, but he cares. He revives all the skeletons through the window screen, and even Clacky's incomplete structure is restored anew. Finally, Jisuk announces that Dark Highland, Wide Mine, Skeleton, and Dwarves all now belong to King Jisuk. From now on, anyone who opposes them should prepare for war.